Hello. Welcome back to the Lupit poll interview series. Today we're going to be talking to Chris Talbot, otherwise known as Blue Phoenix. Incredible performer, coach, teacher, one of our friends, our poll friends out there in Australia. He's just coming off of a big win in Mr. Pole Dance, and I'm so excited to have him on with us. I'm going to bring him on right now. Send through any questions you have for Chris if you have any questions. We'll see it in the chat.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Congratulations. You had a pretty big last couple of weeks, huh?
Oh, God, yeah. I still can't believe it. But yeah, thank you so
Tell
much.
me about it. Tell me about Mr. Pole Dance.
Well, yeah, it was amazing. It was the 10th year anniversary. So yeah, we've had the boys comp going for 10 years, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, I still remember doing the first one in 2013, and here we are 10 years later. So yeah, pretty awesome legacy for Bobby's Pole Studio. So it was very special to be part of it.
That's super fantastic. Congratulations. Wow, I
Thank
can't
you.
believe you were there at the first one.
Yeah, just a baby back then.
Speaking of being a baby, what has been your journey to pole? Like, how did you find pole? I'm so curious. You
Oh,
you've been in
um,
the industry for so long now.
yeah, it's a bit of a random story. I'd kind of always just wanted to try it just for fun because it looked amazing, but I never knew guys could really get involved in it. And then I remember I tried it out at a friend's hen's party once, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty fun. And then kind of didn't touch it again for a few years. And then one day I thought, fuck it, and I bought a Living Social voucher online for a couple lessons at a local studio, and that's kind of where it all started. And the rest is history, pretty much.
That's
So.
fantastic. What studio was that for you when you first went in?
I started at a studio called Pure Pole Academy in Brisbane, in Queensland in Australia. So yeah, I had a couple little sort of random lessons here and there, and then yeah, ended up becoming the personal trainer for the owner of the studio in return for lessons once a week, and then it kind of just took off from there. So yeah, about 10 and a half years ago, 11 years ago.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Pure pole. I've been there.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, very cool. Very cool. So
Yeah.
what is on the agenda for these days? Are you mostly doing a lot of teaching, training? I know that you are also a marine biologist, and I'd like to chat a little bit about that too.
Yeah. At the moment, it's mostly teaching, because as everyone knows, COVID kind of killed everything the last few years. So the show scene died pretty badly in Sydney. But thankfully, we were able to stay teaching online during lockdown. And then when that kind of eased up, we got back into the studios pretty quick. So yeah, mostly just teaching, but the shows have been starting to come back this year, which is fantastic. Thank God. It's good to be out performing again. So I've been very lucky this year to have a few really awesome show contracts coming back, which has been fantastic. But yeah, mainly teaching, no time for training. That's not a thing.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm right there with you.
Pretty much, yeah.
All teaching all the time.
Yeah, which is great. The students are fantastic, and it's
Yeah.
good to be back doing face-to-face teaching. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And I thought I did see something that you were working on a duet, and you have performed a duet recently. So a little bit of personal training, right?
Yeah, a little bit. So Chili Rocks held her first competition called Pole Icon, which was a couple of weeks ago in Sydney. It was pretty amazing, and yeah, I got to work with one of my amazing colleagues, Lola Grace from Bobby's Pole Studio. We did doubles. I haven't done a doubles routine in years, so it was a lot of fun to work with somebody else and share the stage with her, because she's phenomenal. I'm sure most of you have heard of her. So yeah, we had a really great time with our routine, and there was some incredible shows. It was a pretty special night. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So I hope you guys get to see some of the shows when they come out soon. It was awesome.
Oh, I'm so excited. I didn't realize this was the first one that Chili's done. That's very cool.
Yeah, so very,
like her venue, her show. How cool. And so I would say, tell us, okay, so for those people who are on today and don't know a ton about the Australian pole scene and how much shows are interwoven into the very fabric of what you all do over there. Cue them in.
Yeah, I guess you could say Australia is all about the show and the show quality. They love the big you know, fancy bang bang show, you know, lots of strong characters and themes, and they just want the crowd to be wowed and amazed, and, you know, for us to have fun on stage and get the crowd involved. So a lot of the competitions have a very big emphasis on, you know, X factor and show quality and your story. So it can make it pretty challenging sometimes because everyone's kind of done everything over the years. So you've got to be pretty creative and try and reinvent things or do them differently. But it does make for some pretty spectacular competition show nights, that's for sure. So people get very creative, and just, you know, the way pole is evolving so quickly, it just gets pretty wild up there sometimes. So, but yeah, I guess Australia's, you know, really embraces the showgirl style, which is awesome, because there's so much you can do with it, and it's fantastic to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so nice to see those coming back online over there. I mean, we're so used to seeing just the epic shows come from that side of the world. And yeah. So speaking of that, like about your style, I know that, you know, from your online presence, we get such this this sense of your style with, you know, with the heels and the gorgeous lines and the just the incredible kind of show quality you have, and really known for a lot of, you know, like the sexual, sensual type of movement. And I wanted to just chat to you about your style and how it's evolving and where are you with it? What is it that you love about pole? What drew you to pole? And maybe a little bit about like this last routine that you just performed and how it maybe is a little bit different.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know what sort of style you'd call me. It's kind of a little bit of a mix of different things, but I've been lucky enough to work in a lot of different studios and with a lot of different instructors and kind of learn and absorb from them. And I literally just spent hours in front of the mirrors in the studio looking like a complete, you know, dead insect, trying to work out my body and my legs. And yeah, it kind of just evolved from there. I don't really know how it happened, and now I can't not do it, which is weird. But I know I like doing the heels work just because it does give you, you know, more extension through the legs and the lines, and, you know, another point of articulation through the ankles, and you can make some pretty cool shapes and illusions. So yeah, I guess that's just kind of what I focused on, is trying to make nice visual effects using the heels, I guess, almost as a prop. Because I mean, I'm not the most coordinated person when it comes to walking and dancing in them without holding on to something.
I think we're all like that. Everyone assumes like we walk across the room, you know, or, you know, the people that are amazing heels who walk across the room in heels all the time. It's like on the floor holding onto the pole.
Totally, yeah, exactly. Or we're crawling. It's like you can walk across the studio fine and turn the music on or whatever, but if you do it on stage, it's friggin' terrifying. So,
I just
minimize choreographing walking.
Exactly. I have the most hilarious story. It's like, I remember I did a piece in heels a long time ago. I think it was in USPDF, like 2012 or something. And I was in heels, and everyone was making fun of me because I went out to do my piece. I walked on in the dark, and I was like, oh my God, this is so scary. I like needed to cross. So I got my piece done. Lights went down, and I just literally hit the deck. I got onto my hands and knees and like crawled off stage, like help, help, help.
Hopefully no one can see me right now.
Yeah, exactly. Just like chick, 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 shuffling across the floor, in the dark, you know, and in the heels. Totally. But what is it, you know, like what is it for you? Was that when you first came in to pole? Tell me how your style has changed over time, because, you know, now this is kind of cool getting to know your story and you starting at pure pole, and kind of now your style is so, you know, it's so signature. Do you know what I mean? So tell us about that evolution.
Yeah, so when I started pole, I was coming from after I finished science and I got into personal training and bodybuilding. So I was coming in with a lot of strength, but zero dance. Like I have no background in dance or gymnastics or flexibility or anything.
Wow, that's awesome. So, it's so good for people to hear that.
Yeah, it was different. I didn't start till I was about 27 as well. And yeah, so I was strong, but I had no flexibility, no dance or anything. So that was an interesting journey.
Wow, no flex.
Trying to learn how to do that sort of thing, and, you know, how to start using your face and how to, you know, link things together so that it flowed and it didn't look, you know, segregated and awkward. And that took a really long time. But again, getting to work in different studios and just absorbing, you know, what I'm watching, and watching a lot of people's videos and a lot of different shows just to try and see how they do it. And again, it's just spending hours in the mirrors and filming and seeing what works and what doesn't work. So I eventually got into a little bit more dancey stuff. And yeah, I guess it just kind of evolved from there. It got less about being so trick heavy and more about, yeah, dancing and flowing and a lot more floor work and getting creative on the floor. And yeah, I guess again, using the pole as a prop rather than spending all your time up there going bang, 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 trick, and then getting down, walking to the next pole and bang, bang, bang. So that's been a huge learning curve for me, is trying to, think more about the show quality and using your face and, trying to create a feel, and to slow things down and sort of get the coordination, articulation happening. Because I think, to me personally, it's nicer to watch things that flow and that are gentle and look nice rather than, tick, 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 tick. So that's been kind of how I guess I've evolved the most over 10 years now, sort of slowing it down, taking a moment to connect things and think about it and make interesting shapes. And yeah, it's challenging, that's for sure, but it's a lot of fun. But for me personally, that's what I like to do a little bit more.
Yeah. I love seeing the evolution of people over time. Now that we've had so many, now that there's just been so many people that have been in the pole world for a very, very long time, and being able to really track those evolutions is exciting.
Yeah, and you're constantly learning, like it never ends, there's always more to work on, there's always more things to fix and improve and progress, which is fantastic. It's endless, which is great.
Right? It never gets boring. It's always like there's always something to do with it. And when you're sick of this style or that style, then there's always another style to do, there's always something else to learn. It's
exploding. There's so many different styles coming out, which is fantastic, because you can take a little bit from everything and try a little bit. Yeah, it's really, really good.
So cool. Who would you say, I mean, obviously this is such a huge question, because again, I think it probably changes over time again and again and again and again. But who would you say are like some of your like original inspirations, that you think about when you have kind of formed your voice in pole?
Oh God, that's a tough one. So I guess originally, because I didn't really know that many people back when I started, I guess people like Felix Kane, Molly Fiskin, and Cleo the Hurricane were some of the biggest names back when I started. So I certainly look to them, because they're three very, very different performers and styles.
What was the second one you said? Felix Kane, Cleo, and?
Marlo.
Marlo, got it, yes.
Yeah, so I guess I look to them into their different styles as well. So yeah, back in the day, they were probably some of the biggest ones, but now, I mean, there's so many from all over the planet, all different countries, that just have all these amazing different styles. And yeah, you can just learn so much from looking at them all, right? Like it's overwhelming some days. You put on Instagram and you scroll through and you're like, oh my God, there's like 10 million new things overnight. Like, what the fuck?
I know the amount of like saved videos in my Instagram that I have like never
gone back to.
I'm like, must try. Oh, that was 3 years ago. Okay.
Yeah, but the list gets bigger and bigger by the month, pretty much, when new people come onto the scene, and you're just like, oh my God, where did this person come from? This is incredible. And it's lovely to watch all these different styles and names coming in, and you can learn a lot from so many different people. So but yeah, back in the day, they were probably the main ones, but now, like, I can't even think of my main inspirations now, because there's so many, and I know I'll just forget their names. Anyway. But yeah, there's a lot of people I look up to and watch for inspiration on the daily. Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. I know so much to choose from, right? You can just like literally open your Instagram and find something immediately that you want to, like, that you're inspired by. Love that.
Totally. Yeah,
it's a different world than when we started, right? Because back then there was only like YouTube, and now it's like, boom, hop up on Instagram, get what you need.
Yeah, it was like
you just get totally inspired right away.
Yeah. And like the hard tricks for us back then is now like beginner level tricks in classes these days.
Totally. I know. Sometimes you're like, I'm gonna pull out the Superman. Okay, maybe I shouldn't show anyone that.
Exactly.
Oh no, I think it's just so wonderful to see all the different voices coming in and all the different inspiration. It's like, it's just weird to have it all at your fingertips too, right? So it can be a little overwhelming, I'm sure. Like would you say that when you're in non-comp mode or non-performance mode, there's like a different mindset of where you are as far as taking things in? And I almost feel like how does that change for you when you're prepping for a comp or a show? Do you kind of like try to limit your input, or, you know, put the blinders on, or how do you deal with that? I'm
Uh,
curious.
I don't know. I think when I'm in teaching mode, like I'm not learning very much myself because, you know, apart from sort of my elite level classes where it's kind of whatever I want to teach, so I'm looking for inspiration for new things to teach, and I'm kind of like, oh shit, I think I can try that. Let's have a few goes, and then oh, yeah, we can work that or we can develop that. But yeah, I definitely don't do much training for myself. It's just teaching. And then if a show comes up, I guess, depending on what it is, or if a competition comes up that I kind of need to create something new, then yeah, I'll probably put the brain out there to have a look and see what's new, or kind of just reinvent stuff that I can already do because I just don't have the time or the energy to learn anything new, or I have no one to spot me or teach me safely as well. So that's quite challenging actually, is keeping up with everything. And because I'm a complete sook, like I'm too scared to flip and throw myself around. I don't do that. It's just not me. So I find I'm kind of trying to reinvent or reorder things that I do, or just try and make them a little bit different or a bit more unique. Yeah, but it's quite challenging to keep up and to learn new stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes, and also trying to keep the content fresh in classes. If you're not working off a curriculum, that can be quite challenging as well. But it also, you know, gives me something to work on and keep challenging myself, because you don't want to just flatline.
Yeah. Well,
Don't
you
want
know, I
to
think
get
I
bored.
find it so interesting, you know, like, yes, it is true. It's so hard, you know, to keep up with everything. And then also there is something to be said about, you know, the reason that you sit so well in your style, and the reason why you are the dancer you are, and the reason why people are unique, is because they do take the things that are path of least resistance, and they aren't afraid to continue to explore those things over and over and over, right? Like I tell a lot of
Totally.
times my students, like, you don't have to learn all the new things. You can take the things that you do and get so bored of them that you accidentally create a new shape, or you do it differently, or you explore a transition. You know, sometimes sitting into that, you know, I think it's really important for people to hear that great performers,
Yeah.
yeah, this is how great performers work. Is a lot of repetition, is a lot of
Yeah.
finding path of least resistance, not necessarily um completely torquing or bending or flipping themselves into things that don't feel necessarily um that sit with them well at the moment, right? Sure, you get
Yeah.
into a class, you finally get someone who can spot you in something, right? But that's, you
Yeah.
know, like, you know, when you're always performing and teaching, that's kind of a rare moment and a very special thing to be able to be a student and
Yeah.
have someone else's hands on you in a spot, you know. But I think
Yeah.
it's good for people to hear, like, hey, like, the greats got great because they kept doing the stuff that felt good.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think there's something to be said for doing that. Absolutely. Yeah, if you've got stuff that you're really good at, that, you know, is part of your muscle memory and just part of your repertoire, then yeah, embrace it, go with it, create some different transitions, and just show off beautiful, amazing shapes that people have come to love and expect. I think there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
And
Tell me
yeah.
where pole fits into your life. Tell me about your life outside of pole, and how pole fits into, you know, what makes your every day or your every week.
Um, so I teach pretty much 5, 6 days a week. So yeah, during the day, I try and keep pretty low key, you know, do my business admin and try and teach, you know, catch up on life admin, do some washing, have some food. But yeah, no, I try and get into the studios early to do a bit of training, or to, you know, film some freestyles and that sort of thing, or if I've got to choreograph routines. But it's pretty much almost every day for me at the moment, which is great, and I'm loving it. Yeah, so I teach at 3 different studios in Sydney, which is nice because I get to be exposed to, you know, more different students and styles and kind of studio atmospheres, which is fantastic. So yeah, it's pretty much my whole life at the moment. But I am very lucky in that I've had a few new show contracts come through this year. So really excited to jump back into a full-time show career for a little while as well, which is very, very exciting. And I've been lucky enough to be involved in a really, really amazing cast and show. So that's
Tell
going
me
to be
about the
coming up.
show. Tell me about the
Yeah,
show.
yeah. It's called Club Cabaret, created by Bernie Dieter. So it's kind of like a dark Berlin underground theme style adult cabaret with some amazing circus artists. And every time there's a new contract, the cast is slightly different, I guess, depending on who's in town. But she sings everything live, and she has the most incredible voice. It's all done to a live band. It's in a Spiegel tent. You know, we have 360 surrounding audience, and it's just absolutely incredible. It's such a great show, and I'm so enjoying being part of it. And get to have, you know, a bit of creative outlet again outside of the studio. So yeah, it's pretty much taking up all my time at the moment, which I'm not sad about at all. It's good to have something to work on and work towards again. Yeah, so we're trying to bring back the show scene around the country, and it's great to be part of it. Yeah.
How long is a contract for that show for you?
The first one was 5 weeks, but I missed the last week because I got COVID again for the second time. I got it like twice within 3 months, which was just a bit fucked, but anyway.
Oh my gosh. Well, you good now. You got those antibodies.
This one I'm on at the moment is 2 weeks, and then I go back home for a month to teach, and then I have a 6-week one and then a 4-week one back to back after that. So.
And when you do that show, is that because you were saying you get to have that kind of creative outlet? When you do that show, is that something that you get to be a part of really creating your act? And like, you know, what is that creative process for you?
Yeah, when I was first approached, she sent me a video of one of the past shows they had where there was another pole dancer dancing to this particular song. And so she sent me the song, so I knew what it was. And it was already a song I fell in love with a while back, so I knew it quite well. But she was going to be singing it live, and I was like, oh my God, this is going to be incredible. So I pretty much got to create the entire routine on my own, except for the beginning and the end, because I wasn't sure how the transitions were going to work in the show. So I left that open. And yeah, it came together really nicely, and the feedback was fantastic. And I got to perform it for 4 weeks straight in my own hometown after, you know, 2 and a bit years of no entertainment. So Sydney was kind of frothing to get out there and see something. So we had some amazing crowds. So yeah, that's where it kind of all started this year. So it was fantastic.
How many shows is that a week?
It was 8 shows a week.
Oh.
Yeah, so we had 1 day off. So I was still teaching at one of the studios on the day off.
Oh my gosh, you're crazy.
Doing some morning classes. So yeah, I pretty much didn't have a day off for about 6 weeks there. Until I got COVID again, then I had to take some time off. But yeah, no, it was amazing. It was really, really special. So I'm really honored to be asked to come back for some more contracts now. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, what would you say, you know, to, you know, people coming into pole for the first time? You know, what I'm not sure if you teach newbies anymore, if you're kind of more in the more advanced, but someone coming into pole who's, you know, maybe coming from the world that you came from fitness, with no dance background, what would you say to them?
I would say they're in for a pretty special wild ride, which is great. I mean, the good thing about it in some of the studios I get to work at is it's so open. We have such a diverse clientele coming through, and that is just amazing. It is so inclusive these days. And I guess we're trying to emphasize, you know, go at your own pace. This is your own journey. Do it for your own reasons. Please don't rush. Otherwise, you're going to get injured. You know, just enjoy it. Take it as it comes. And yeah, and be open to experimenting and experiencing some new things. It's going to hurt sometimes. It's going to feel like you're not progressing sometimes, and other times you're going to just be killing it. You know, just let the journey happen at your own pace, and it's going to be special. It changes lives. I've seen it change so many people's lives, which is really, really special about what we do. So, you know, like to encourage the beginners to just get in there at their own pace and just enjoy it. And, you know, you see the walls break down after a few weeks or a few months, or after they start to progress through the lower levels. The heels get higher, the outfits get smaller, the smiles get bigger.
Oh, that's so
the
sweet.
personality
I love
starts
that.
to show through. You can usually tell someone's level by the heel height or the size of their pants, which is pretty fun. But yeah, it's such a special journey for everyone, and it's individual and it's personal, and it's amazing to see some new characters shine through. Yeah, so I think that's a really special thing about what we get to do.
Yeah, and having been in it and having taught it for so long, do you see a huge difference in who's coming into the studio now as to who's coming into the studio 10 years ago?
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, like I said, the types of people and the clientele has just exploded. There's anyone and everyone doing it now, which is fantastic. We're really trying to push, you know, the openness and the acceptance of, you know, every body, every gender, every age, every background is welcome and will be embraced, and you know, can create their own journey. So it's fantastic how it's exploded in that way. Yeah, really. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. This was so wonderful to catch up with you. I think that it's going to be so good for so many people to hear a couple of the things that we highlighted today, which is, you know, how much more how much more inclusive we finding pole recently, and also about your journey about slowing down and finding your unique style and performance, and how that has kind of ebbed and flowed, starting with the tricks and kind of bringing it down into kind of a more, you know, vulnerable place for you. I highly suggest everyone go check out Chris's most recent performance. I just watched it and just totally blew me away.
Yeah, it was nice to do something different. I was pretty unwell leading up to that particular show, and I was going to do a completely different routine. Initially, it was going to be, you know, the song Down with the Sickness and make it about COVID, but try and make it a joke. But then I was like, oh, too soon. So I completely changed my idea and just fell in love with this song. And I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to peel away all the layers. It's just going to be me on the stage with the audience, no gimmicks, no shoes, hair out, and just try and tell a bit of a story that I think everyone can kind of relate to after the last few years. And I just wanted everyone to take something away from it that means something to them. There wasn't like a strong overall theme or character. It was more just, yeah, like I said, I think the song kind of told the story, you know, at least we're alive kind of thing. So take from that what you will. Yeah, so it was a pretty special night. I still can't believe it. But
yeah, I loved it. It was raw and vulnerable, and exactly what you're saying about it. It kind of it embodies kind of you know, these last few years and the journey that we've all been on, such a roller coaster ride. So yes, thank you so much for chatting with us today, Chris.
Thank
and everyone, go check out Chris. Chris, do you have any offerings that do you do any online classes or anything?
I've got a bunch of pre-recorded tutorials
Awesome.
that I can send links for. Otherwise, yeah, I don't do any live online teaching at the moment, just because the studios have gone back in person. But yeah, so I've got a bunch of tutorials in the vault, if anyone's keen.
All right. Well, everyone, reach out to Chris if you want a little bit of that coaching and that style. And Chris, we will be watching you, and it's super wonderful to connect.
Thank you so much, Sergia. It was great to see you. It's been so long.
I know. So wonderful to see you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.